Elohim spoke all these words, saying, Anoki Yahweh Eleheka, I Yahweh am your Elohim, your power, who brought you out the land of Egypt, of Misraim. That rhymes. The Elohim brought you out of Misraim. Brought you out of the land of Misraim, the house of bondage. You shall have no other powers besides me. You shall not make for yourself a sculptured image or any likeness of what is in the heavens above, or on the earth below, or in the waters under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them. For I, your Eleheka, Yahweh, am an impassioned Elohim, or jealous, visiting the guilt of the parents upon the children, upon the third and upon the fourth generations of those who reject me, but showing kindness to the 1,000th generation of those who love me and keep my commandments. It is teaching us to not have anything equal to, not even half of, and damn sure not above or coupled with the Most High. Putting nothing above, not praying to any other quote unquote power, or what people call gods with a lowercase g, whether they're real or not, or they're made up in their heads, whether they're a literal sculpture that they made of something or someone that existed, or it's just something that they created in their head. Like some people have a version of the Most High in their head that doesn't align with his actual attributes and his actual, his essence. Like you say, people say the Christians and the Muslims worship the same Eloha of the so-called Old Testament, of the Tanakh, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That's what they say, but that they don't match. You know what I'm saying? If the attributes and the actions don't match up, y'all got a false sense of who he is. Y'all got somebody else. That's like somebody can know me, right? And know my ways, know my tendencies, know, just how I move in general, that most people don't see. When they can know that, I'm gonna protect mine. They know that I'm a overall humble dude, but my confidence can be seen as arrogant sometimes. And I don't let a lot of things get to me. So like some people can know me and know me for real and know that, this dude gets to the poor, this dude, helps people when he can. So they know me, right? And then you got somebody else that knows me as my physical, you know what I'm saying? Like, they know my name, they know I exist. They might know me from YouTube, but they have a false sense of who I am. Like people out here, the false accusation against me I've had before. Somebody could just run with that craziness. People could just see me in a different light for whatever reason, And I'm sure we've all done it. We could have somebody that we know, whether real life we don't really know them. We just know what people have said about them, or we can know somebody on YouTube, see a couple videos, and have a whole diagnostic on them, a whole contingency on them, and we really don't know them. We know that they exist. We know we see them, but we don't know truly who they are. And this can go both ways. We can have a false, a negative perception of somebody and they're really a good person. Vice versa, we can have a positive, because a lot of people front. A lot of people front on this on social media, and they'll only show you the highlights, they'll only show you they're good. And we could have a false perception, a false positive perception of them, but they're really, they're really wicked. Case in point, like, especially like when all these pastors out here, people, or the Pope that people praise and put on a pedestal, and behind the scenes, they're touching little boys and fondling and diddling little girls in the church and other dudes' wives and shit. That's kind of like the same thing people do with Christianity and Islam when it comes to the Creator. They know of Him, they know, but they don't know. And if you don't know, now you know. But they really don't. They still don't. So basically, it's telling us not have, he's number one above everything. Physical, metaphysical, quote unquote spiritual, what people want to say, we ain't supposed to worship anything but Him. And especially no human claiming to be Him, bruh. Like, that's just wild, You shall not swear falsely by the name of your Elohim, Yahweh, for Yahweh will not clear one who swears falsely by His name. So it's here. There's another commandment that if we do swear, we are to swear and make our vows in the name of Yahweh. Not in the name of JC, not in the name of, who else? I wouldn't even say Hashem, because that's not His name. There's only one time you see that word Hashem in the scriptures, and I kind of see that as, because you're going to swear, you got to swear by His name. It says it right here. You shall not swear falsely by the name of Him. And then what's the other verse? I can't remember the exact verse, but it says you swear and you make your vows in the name of Yahweh. So like, I don't know. I kind of see it as, with that Hashem stuff, I kind of see it as profaning His name in a sense, because you're kind of covering His name up, and we're supposed to proclaim His name, and the whole earth is supposed to know His name, and it's kind of it's kind of causing His name to be forgotten in a sense. But people, I ain't gonna hold people too much to the as long as when you're praying, you actually say His name. Like, I guess I can see why people wouldn't want to say His name in certain situations or certain conversations. I kind of get that. But if you never use His name and you call Him Hashem, and He was never referred to as Hashem, it referred to His name as the name, because that is His name. That the woman, what was the son of the woman, blasphemed the name of Yahweh. So you can't go around saying she blasphemed Hashem of Hashem. That don't make no sense. But yeah, you shall not swear falsely by the name of your Elohim, Yahweh, or Eloheka, Yahweh. If you're going, this is where you're profaning His name, when you swear by His name and you're lying. You're walking on ice so thin, bro. Like if a fly or a microbe stepped on that ice, that junk's cracking. You do not play with His name. Do not play with His name. If you're going to swear and you're supposed to swear by His name, do not swear falsely. And when it came to certain judgments and like a death penalty type sins, and you were a party, a witness, and you out here false witnessing and swearing on his name to get somebody killed, bruh, yo, you're and they take out their earn them and thun them, and they find out you're lying, or you're getting that judgment, bruh. You're done. So Koret Yom HaShabbat Lakadosho. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh is a Shabbat it's a Shabbat La Yahweh Elaheka. You shall not do any work, you, your son or daughter, your male or female slave, or your cattle, or the stranger who is within your settlements. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth and sea, and all that's in them, and then rested on the seventh day. Therefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Now, there's people that say we can't keep the Shabbat. I'm not going to get in the debate with it. It's really, I don't know. He said this, the Shabbat is a sign between him and his people. And the Shabbat has been since the beginning of creation. Beginning. And they kept the Shabbat in the wilderness. So like some people try to use they say we can't keep it today because it says we're supposed to keep it, the Shabbat, within all our dwellings or settlements or stuff like that. Well, if you're gonna use that as your foundation, if you look in that word and you look other verses that say, other laws that say you shall not do this or you shall do this within these habitations, in that same word, there's another law where it says we shall not eat blood or the kalev, the fat. We shall not eat blood in all our habitations. So does that mean if we're not in the land? So if you're using that logic to say that we have to be in the land to keep the Sabbath because it says in all your habitations, and those habitations were within the gates of the city. Well, not only are you saying that because somebody, if they were traveling and they just happened to not be in the land, they couldn't keep a Sabbath, they could just work. Well, not only that, you're saying now that we can eat blood today because we're not in the land. So are you out here eating blood because you're not in the quote unquote habitations? If you're going to use that same logic, that we have to be in the habitation is in the land. So you're out here eating blood and it's okay. And I know people that say this, we can't keep no Torah because we're not in the land. And that's that's craziness, because what is your measuring stick? The scriptures make it clear there is a righteous and there's the righteous and there's the wicked. And go through go hit Blue Letter Bible and look up the righteous and the wicked and look up all the differences, the righteous versus the wicked. So what is the criteria for the people that's going to be in the remnant? Everybody's just going to be doing the same things? No, there's going to be people that is practicing and observing Torah, the Torah that we can keep in exile. There's laws we cannot keep in exile, point blank, that has to be done in the land. But I don't see the Shabbat as that. And some people try to use that we don't, because we don't have priests, that you can't have a rest day, we can't keep Shabbat. I don't see how that works either. Because once again, the Shabbat was kept in the wilderness, and that's the priest's job. That's what the priest's supposed to do. So you tell me they're in the land, and when Doeg killed all the Levites, let's say Doeg killed every single Levite in the land, and there's no Levites left. So you're telling me that they would not keep a Shabbat because there's no Levites doing offerings? Are you serious? That don't make no sense. They just stopped. I think they just stopped that particular part of it. Just because a Levite ain't doing his job don't mean you ain't supposed to do your part, you know? Remember, there was a time the Levites were going off so bad. So you're telling me because Levites ain't doing their part on the Shabbat that you're gonna go work now? You're gonna go buy and sell? You're gonna go, do your own thing? Oh, the priests ain't doing what they do. Bruh. No, you do your part. That's accountability, regardless of what they doing. Now, granted, ain't no death penalty for it now. We don't have the judges set up, none of that. There's a lot of stuff that we have done, not only ourselves, but as a nation, that we should have, died for, that we could have died for. But, we got that grace, we got that mercy for now. But you're going to keep spitting, you should. It's just wisdom. It's just wisdom to have a rest day out of the day of the week. Even if we don't agree on what day the Shabbat is, we're gonna, that's just a given. We're not gonna agree on doctrine 100% of the time. But whatever, if you've done your research and you come to the conclusion that this is Shabbat, you're keeping a Shabbat, you're keeping a rest day. Now, should we all agree on when that is? Of course. Due to history, certain documents and stuff, Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff like that. I keep mine on when I keep it, and and it's just my my belief that the Shabbat day never changed. It get kept. It's consecutive every 7 day, every 7 day, every 7 day. It never changed. It never broke that cycle, and they they kept that in stone. So, but the whole point is, you're making an effort. You're making an effort to rest, and it's just wisdom. You can't grind 7 days a week and never rest and never give a whole day to the Most High. So, but people can do what they do. And if I found out I was wrong on the day, I'm switching my day up. That's just how I move. I find out I'm wrong. I'm humble enough to switch up. And but the Most High reads the kiliot, the inward man, the kidneys, the reins, and the heart, the leb. He knows we in confusion. He knows if in 100% in your mind you're like, oh, this is the Shabbat. You think he's not gonna have mercy on you? He had mercy on us in idolatry sometimes. He brought us out of that. So if we're wrong on the Shabbat, he's gonna bring us out and put us into the right. But if you're not practicing it at all, not rehearsing a righteous act, you think you're just gonna walk in the land and have no, like some people I heard think we can't keep no laws. You're just gonna walk in the land. You're gonna go in the wilderness, make it out the wilderness. The ones that weren't keeping no laws at all, practicing none of it, preparing, and you're just gonna walk in the land, and and he's gonna put the Torah in your heart. You're doomed if you think that. Okay, that's beside the point though. Like I don't really hold people to if they have different understanding on Shabbat, but it is a sign between him and his people. So you'd think you would want that sign upon you. Honor your father and your mother that you may long endure on the land that Elaheka Yahweh is assigning to you. Or Yahweh Elaheka. Now, this is it's kind of point blank, but you can also look at it in an esoteric way, like layered. How people, you say there's like 4 layers of scripture. Honor your father and your mother. That's literal, honor your father and your mother. They brought you into this world. And who brought them into this world? The Creator. They are an extension of the Creator. The Creator is, though referred to as a he, yeah, because he is male dominant, definitely, but he's not a literal human. You know, he's like majority masculine energy and some feminine energy. It's like even with us now, like there's dudes out here straight male, but they in their feminine energy, you know, 100%, and they feminine, you know, and they flick their wrist and stuff. But that ain't what the Most High is. He's balanced. That's basically what it is. He's balanced. So when you're disrespecting your father and your mother, you're disrespecting him. When you hit your father or your mother, and that's a death penalty, you know, you're disrespecting the Most High. You know, they're the ones that brought you in this earth. You're an extension of them. They're an extension of the Most High. And you're putting your hands on them. And most of the time when you put your hands on your parents, it's out of like just disrespectful. It's not out of self-defense. It's, you know, you're in your feelings. You're just a degenerate. You're just wicked. If you strike your parents, you're just wicked. Now, I had an opportunity to one time before my brother's funeral. You know, it was a little argument, and my father kind of stepped to my mother, and, you know, I hopped in front of her, and I was ready, you know, to swing on him, but I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't. I just, you know, I made him, you know, I just made him, you know, I put the fear of the Most High in him, and, yeah, that was that. So I'm glad I didn't break that law right there, because you can't come back from that. That's a death penalty. Oh yeah, and also I ain't gonna touch on that right now. You shall not murder. That's point blank. That's point blank. You shouldn't salam. Like if you look at the very first incidents, Cain and Abel. A lot of times, there's a reason there's a distinction between thou shalt not. A lot of people say they translate it, thou shalt not kill. But there's two Hebrew words, and there's one for kill, there's one for murder. This one here, tazak. Murder stems a lot of time, like in the case of Cain and Abel, it stemmed from jealousy, envy, hatred. It's not in the self-defense or defending somebody's life. It's not in a war situation. You know, it takes a lot to murder somebody. Like you, most of the time that's premeditated. Like you've been thinking about that, and you've been hoarding negative energy, negative thoughts, and a lot of times planning on how you're going to do it, and you just been dwelling on it, you know. And you had time to get out of that, but you didn't. So yeah, that's not a you murdered your you know, your sentence is murder. You know, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You know, it's one of the worst things you can do. You shall not commit adultery. Now, adultery is kind of a mirrored idolatry. You know, like with idolatry, you're serving somebody else other than the Most High, or serving them both at the same time. That's spiritual adultery. Now, physical adultery, you're laying with another man's wife, his property, so to speak, and as a wife, you're laying with another man. As a, as you both become one flesh when y'all lay together and get married, and now you're extending, you're meshing your flesh with another individual. That's flesh is meshed with another individual. You're making a damn a transformer animal being type thing. All those energies just intertwining and stuff. And it's one thing. It's different if a man has two wives. He has. A man has, how many ribs a man have? You got a whole rib cage, so a man can have more than one rib, as long as he does it righteously. But when that rib belongs to another man's rib cage, you just took from that man's rib cage. You just took a rib that protects his heart. You just took a man's rib cage and put it in yourself. Now you got down. Some of y'all got two rib cages in your body. You know what I'm saying? I'm being facetious, but y'all know what I'm saying. You're stealing. That is stealing, in a sense, and that's gonna cause a man to murder. Like you don't see you gotta think of the domino effect. The command before it is you shall not murder. The command right after is not commit adultery. And commit adultery will lead somebody to murder, which is kind of warranted because the penalty for adultery is death. So, and then the one right after is shall not steal. See how all these connect? Adultery is between murder and steal. You commit adultery, not only did you steal a man's wife, or you gave yourself to another man when you're the woman. When you're stealing from your husband in that sense. And that leads to murder. That leads to somebody dying. It's just like, it's disgusting, really. You shall not steal. And really, you shall not steal also falls into this with adultery. Just you're not content really when you're doing stuff like that. You shall not steal. You're taking something from somebody that you're taking from somebody else instead of getting your own. Now, granted, there's situations where we know there's gonna be poor people. And we can't really fault a poor person. And I forgot what the scripture was too, but it's basically like people don't really, not verbatim, but it's basically like they see a poor person steal, they're not really gonna hold it. They don't really hold it to them like that. If you're stealing the feed itself type stuff. But at the same time, even if you're a poor person, you could ask somebody, you know what I'm saying? Before you steal, you can ask somebody. You can ask. You can either ask directly, like, you got some money or you got some food. Can you give me shelter for a little bit till I get on my feet? Before you steal, you can do that. Now, say you get denied for all that. We ain't even supposed to be in that situation because the nation's supposed to be so giving. They shouldn't even be in a situation to have to steal. You should be, people should just be giving when somebody needs it. But, we so far gone, it's and we so selfish, and a lot of us are, down ourselves, and we don't really have much to give. feel like it's just one of those things where, like, some people in their mind, their best option is to steal, and it's really a test. It's really a test. They because you always have an option. You always have an option. And I'm not gonna hold somebody that steals to feed themselves or their families, and it's like, and they feel that they have no other option. Though I'm not condoning it. I'm not gonna condone stealing. But I see it as a test. Like, you could have turned to the Creator. You could have went and looked for a job, or you could have went and begged somebody if you needed to. Like, rather than stealing. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Like, why are you lying, cuz? Like, if you out here, it's just hearing that, like, bear false witness against, like, what compels somebody to lie about somebody, especially when it comes to a situation where a life or death situation. Like, not only you tarnishing somebody's name, but you can possibly send them to death because you're saying they committed this sin and that sin. And you're being dumb because you should know the Torah that if you do this and the penalty is death for them and they didn't do it and they find out they didn't do it, then your ass is getting that penalty. It's like some of these girls out here that's ruining people's lives, saying they raped them and stuff. Like one dude that was in the NFL, he was going to the NFL, and she lied on him, and he was about to get drafted, like, first round, and he spent 5 years in jail, and then she comes out later saying she was lying, and he can't get that back. He can't get those millions back. He tried to go back and play after 5 years, and he wasn't the same. You messed up this dude's whole career. And what does she get out of it? She just tears up, cries in court and shit. Did she get a jail sentence? Did she have to eat that 5 years? She should have. She should have to pay that man back till he makes his rookie salary. But that's, and especially if you're in a situation in court, you're a witness, and you're swearing by the Most High's name, and you're bearing falsely, you just degraded his name. Also, you deserve to die right then too. You should not covet your neighbor's house. You should not covet your neighbor's wife, or male or female servant, or ox, or ass, or anything that is your neighbor's. Now, this goes back, coveting. Coveting covers all up here, because when you covet, that leads to jealousy. You're not content with your portion, And coveting can lead to murder. Coveting can lead to adultery. Coveting can lead to stealing. Coveting opens the door. It's like a Pandora's box. More like a Pandora's door. And you really just ain't content with your portion. And so instead of you showing gratitude and being grateful for the things you do have, your mind is filled up with envy and jealousy, and you're not praising the most. You're not thanking the Most High for what you have. You want something else, and you could work for it. You could go get it, but you want what somebody else got. You want his stuff. You want to go take it from him. Oh, that's crazy work, bro. All people witnessed the thunder and lightning, and the blare of the horn, and the mountain smoking. When people saw it, they fell back and stood at a distance. You speak to us, they said to Moshe, and we will obey. But let not Elohim speak to us, lest we die. Moshe answered the people, be not afraid, for Elohim has come only in order to test you. In order that the fear of Elohim may ever be with you, so that you do not go astray. You need that fear, man. Beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Most High. And the fear of the Most High is to hate pride and arrogancy and all that stuff. So the people remained at a distance while Moshe approached the thick cloud where Elohim was. Yahweh said to Moshe, "Thus shall you say to the Israelites, you yourself saw that I spoke to you from the very heavens. With me, therefore, you shall not make any powers of silver, nor shall you make for yourself any powers of gold. Make for me an altar of earth, and sacrifice on your burnt offerings, and your sacrifices of well-being, your sheep and your oxen, and every place where I cause my name to be mentioned, I will come to you and bless you." And that falls into Deuteronomy 12, where we ain't supposed to offer anywhere. It's where the Most High put his name, and where the ark was. "And if you make for me an altar of stones, do not build it of hewn stones, for by wielding your tool upon them, you have profaned them." He want that pure. "Do not ascend my altar by steps, that your nakedness may not be exposed upon it." Mishpatim, judgments. "These are the rules that you shall set before them. When you acquire a Hebrew servant, that person shall serve 6 years and shall go free in the 7th year without payment, in the Jubilee. If a male servant came single, he shall leave single. If he had a wife, his wife shall leave with him. If his master gave him a wife, and she had borne him children, the wife and her children shall belong to the master, and he shall leave alone. But if the servant declares, I love my master and my wife and children, I do not wish to go free," which he should do. Like, you either gonna leave with your family, without him, or you're gonna stay with your family, bro. "His master shall take him before Elohim. He shall be brought to the door or the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall remain his master's servant for life. When a parent sells a daughter as a slave, she shall not go free as other slaves do. If she proves to be displeasing to her master," I might say servant there. "If she proves to be displeasing to her master, who designated her for himself, she must let her be redeemed. He shall not have the right to sell her to outsiders, since he broke faith with her. And if the master designated her for a son, he shall deal with her as is the practice with free maidens. If he takes another as a wife, he must not withhold this one her food, her clothing, or her conjugal rights. If he fails her in these 3 ways, she shall go free without payment." That's just equality, balance. "One who fatally strikes another party shall be put to death. You shall not murder. If a man did so but not by design," which means it wasn't premeditated, "it came about by an act of Elohim, I will assign you a place to which you can flee, to be a city of refuge. When one party schemes against another and kills through treachery, you shall take that person from my very altar to be put to death. One who strikes one's father or mother shall be put to death. One who kidnaps another party, whether having sold or still holding the victim, shall be put to death. One who insults one's father or mother shall be put to death. When 2 parties quarrel and one strikes the other with stone or fist, and the victim does not die but has to take bed, if that victim then gets up and walks outdoors upon a staff, the assailant shall go unpunished except for paying for the idleness and the cure." See, that's accountability. You cause this person to have an injury and maybe not be able to work or provide for themselves or their family. That's on you. That's just righteous. So you're responsible for what you caused, and that alone. When a servant-owning party strikes a servant, male or female, with a rod, who dies there and then, this must be avenged. But if the victim survives a day or 2, this is not to be avenged, since the one is the other's property. When 2 or more parties fight and one of them pushes a pregnant woman and a miscarriage results, but no other damage ensues, the one responsible shall be fined according as the woman's husband may exact, the payment to be based on reckoning. But if other damage ensues, this penalty shall be life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, and bruise for bruise. They see what the Torah teaches us is really accountability and fairness. You know, you got to see these penalties. The reason why these penalties are there is a safeguard. It's like those winding roads up a mountain. And, if there wasn't a guardrail, you'd probably fall off. A lot of people probably fall off and crash. That's what it is. It's like, you got to see this. Like, I don't want that to happen to me. So even if you really want to do the sin, you should not want to do the sin just because you're righteous. Or because you want to be righteous, or because you want to, please the Most High. But some people need penalties, as a fail-safe. So you got those, you got to see if that fails and you really want to do this sin, you should look at this penalty like, I don't want that to happen to me, or I don't want to have to pay this for this. I don't want to steal steal an ox and have to pay for 5 of them, or steal a sheep and have to pay for 4 of them, or pay for this person's tooth, or be put to death. So I'm not going to do it. That's what the point is. Like, people look at the penalties, the judgments, but they don't look at what happened in somebody's mind, all the premeditation, all the time they had to change their mind to not do it. They don't look at that before they committed the act. Which is like kind of a victim mentality. Like, you could have prevented the whole thing. When, wait. All right. When a servant-owning party strikes the eye of a servant, male or female, and destroys it, that person shall let the servant go free on account of the eye. That's righteous. You owe him something. Give him his freedom. If the owner knocks out the tooth of a servant, male or female, that person shall let the servant go free on account of the tooth. Once again, when the ox gores a man or woman to death, the ox shall be stoned and his flesh shall not be eaten. But the owner of the ox is not to be punished. That's kind of a cold concept. Like, you can't even eat the ox, even though it's a clean animal. But if it gores somebody, I guess, it's unclean. It gored, it touched on a dead human. I guess it's unclean. And plus the act of it doing that, I guess the energy behind an ox that will gore somebody, I guess that might play into it also. You know how they say when they slaughter, or they like chickens, they have chickens in a coop and they're distraught. They live their whole life distraught and anxious, and a lot of these animals know they're gonna die. They see their families dying and stuff, and they store up this energy. They're not supposed to be killed like that. It's supposed to be humane. It's supposed to be quick. Like, it's not supposed to be torturous. So really, those animals, it's said that when you eat animals that have gone through that, you absorb that. You feel that. It can mess with your emotions. So I guess that plays into it too. Just the energy that particular ox had to do that. And, then it gets stoned. Flesh should not be eaten, but the owner of the ox not to be punished. That makes you wonder how many of these, we already know American, I would never eat American meat ever again. I'm not even, 99% chance I'll never step foot in America again. Even if I had the opportunity to eat any, I would not. But whether clean or unclean, how do you know the animal they serving you died of itself, or kill somebody and we're not supposed to eat it? So, you gotta be careful. If, however, that ox has been in the habit of goring, and its owner, though warned, has failed to guard it, and it kills a man or woman, the ox shall be stoned, and its owner too shall be put to death. Because you knew, bro, you were supposed to, you know that your ox is ornery. You know that your ox is dangerous. You maybe have seen it almost gore somebody before, or it did gore somebody before, and you did nothing to prevent that happening. That blood is on your hands. You know? It'd be different if you tried to keep him, pinned up, and he broke out and did it. That's different. But you at least made an attempt to, you're not supposed to do anything to endanger your neighbor's life, your people's life. So you're being negligent. And your negligence caused somebody to die. So, that's on you. That's responsibility. That's accountability. So, it is what it is. Ox shall be stoned and the owner put to death. But if ransom is imposed, the owner must pay whatever is imposed to redeem the owner's own life. So there's a way out if you pay that ransom. So too, if it gores a minor, male or female, the owner shall be dealt with according to the same rule. But if the ox gores a servant, male or female, the owner shall pay 30 shekels of silver to the master, and the ox shall be stoned. Oh. When any party opens a pit, or when any party digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or an ass falls into it, the one responsible for the pit must make restitution, paying the price to the owner, but keeping the dead animal. Once again, accountability, responsibility, thinking every action. You're thinking of what it can result in. How can it affect somebody else? It's about being considerate. When any party's ox injures his neighbor's ox and it dies, they shall sell the live ox and divide its price. They shall also divide the dead animal. Code. If, however, it is known that the ox was in the habit of goring and its owner has failed to guard it, that person must restore ox for ox, but shall keep the dead animal. Code. See, man, y'all don't want that. So, do what you're supposed to do. When any party steals an ox or a sheep and slaughters it or sells it, that person shall pay 5 ox for the ox and 4 sheep for the sheep. So you really want to be out here stealing the bird, you got to pay 4 or 5 times what you stole. That should prevent you right there. If the thief is seized while tunneling and beaten to death, there is no blood guilt in that case. If the sun had already risen, there is blood guilt in that case. The thief must make restitution, and if lacking the means, shall be sold for the theft. Dog. But if what was stolen, whether ox, ass, or sheep, is found alive and in hand, that person shall pay double. When any party owns livestock that's loose to graze in another's land, and allows a field or a vineyard to be grazed bare, restitution must be made for the impairment of that field or vineyard. Once again, accountability, responsibility, consideration for other people's stuff. Doing as you would want done to you. You wouldn't want somebody eating all your crops. When a fire is started and spreads the thorns so that stack standing and growing grain is consumed, the one who started the fire must make restitution, responsibility, accountability. When any party gives money or goods to another for safekeeping. And you gotta think, you just burn somebody's stuff, now they can't feed their family. So, that's on you. It's a domino effect. And if you prevent certain things, certain actions from happening, then you don't have to worry about it. But you cause this to happen. You caused it. That's where, you gotta step up to the plate. You got, you cause this person not be able to feed himself or his family or his livestock. So, you gotta make it right, man. When any party gives money or goods to another for safekeeping and they are stolen from that party's house, if caught, the thief shall pay double. If the thief is not caught, the owner of the house shall depose before Elohim and deny laying hands on the other property. So they gotta swear in the name of Yahweh. In all charges of misappropriation pertaining to an ox, an ass, a sheep, a garment, or any other loss whereof one party alleges, this is it. The case of both parties shall come before Elohim. The one whom Elohim declares guilty shall pay double to the other. When any party gives to another an ass, an ox, a sheep, or any other animal to guard, and it dies or is injured or carried off, with no witness about, an oath before Yahweh shall decide between the two of them that the one has not laid hands on the property of the other. The owner must acquiesce, and no restitution shall be made. But if the animal was stolen from the guardian, restitution shall be made to its owner. If it was torn by beasts, the guardian shall bring it as evidence, not needing to replace what has been torn by beasts. When any party borrowed, so you can't be out here lying, trying to put blame on somebody else for damages that they didn't do, that they're not responsible for. And shout out my Airbnb host, my last Airbnb host that tried to lie and try to say we broke her window shutters and her water heater that was already, the meter was already damaged, and we barely touched her shutters. Shout out to Layla and Kenitra, trying to scam and message us on WhatsApp to try to get us to pay her money. Oh yeah. Be careful, y'all. Be careful with the Airbnbs. Always take pictures and videos upon arrival and before you leave. They will lie. Some people will lie and try to get you to get money out you. But yeah, when any party borrows an animal from another and it dies or is injured, its owner not being with it, restitution must be made. If its owner was with it, no restitution need be made. But if it was hired, that payment is due. If a man seduces a virgin, whom the bride price has not been paid, and lies with her, he must make her his wife by payment of a bride price. If her father refuses to give her to him, he must still weigh out silver in accordance with the bride price for virgins. That's cold, bro. Like, you jumped the gun, You jumped the gun. You could have just paid for her and did things the right way, and then you'd have her. But now, in that situation, not only did you pay for her, but you don't have her now, and you just defiled her for the next man, bro. That's, you know what I'm saying? And don't he have to make her his wife and not be able to divorce her if he does marry her all his days? You shall not tolerate a sorceress, or some versions say witch. And what was I trying to say? Yeah. Well, it says you shall not suffer a witch to live, I believe. Or is that a different verse? Well, either way, they have people out here tapping into other powers, things we're not supposed to be playing with. They're using witchcraft to manipulate people, take advantage of people, to harm people. We have no tolerance, no room in the nation for coupling this stuff with the Most High. You seen what happened to the witch of Endor and all the sorceresses and what do they call them, necromancers and all that in the land when Saul was there. And, she should have been put to death too, but, he didn't do his job. Whoever lies with a beast shall be put to death. That's the point, that's pretty plain, bro. Like, what the fuck? Oh, excuse my language. My bad. Oh, still working on that. But, I mean, come on now. Come on now. And the beast gotta die now. Bro, ain't nobody about to eat no beast oh, man. That's disgusting, bro. Whoever sacrifices to a power other than Yahweh alone shall be proscribed. That's a funny way to put it, bro. You just got proscribed. Look at this spider on my Get up. Get up out of here, bro. Watch out. You can't come home with me, bro. You all tucked up and shit. I ain't never seen a spider do that before. Hold up. I'm not trying to hurt you, my guy, but you gotta get out of here. You can't be on my bag. Bruh. Here. This man went in my shoe, bro. The spider literally just crawled in my shoe. Bruh, get off my shofar, dude. I wish I could record this right now. He's hanging off my shofar. What do you want, bro? Dude, why you keep crawling over here? He got his web all up on me. Yeah. Bruh. Oh, yeah, I'm trying to make sure the spider don't crawl up in my pants. Now, see, if I was a Batiman, I would have screeched. What's that? What's that thing they do on Tom and Jerry when the mouse comes at the lady's feet and stuff? Oh, where was I at? That spider almost got proscribed. But nah, I let him go. I don't be. When it comes to insects and stuff like that, I don't be killing them. I'll let them go if I can. You shall not wrong or oppress a stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Misraim. So you know how it feels to be a stranger. You wouldn't want to. Why would you treat somebody like that if you didn't like being treated like that? Your communal leaders shall not ill-treat any widow or orphan. I don't know why it says communal leaders. Nobody should ill-treat a widow or orphan. If you do mistreat them, I will heed their outcry as soon as they cry out to me. And my anger shall blaze forth, and I will put you to the sword. And your own wives shall become widows, and your children orphans. Boy, leave them widows and orphans alone, my guy. If you lend money to my people, because they're the most vulnerable. They're the most vulnerable. Not only is a woman and a child, but it's a woman without a husband, and a child without a father, or a child without parents in general. The most vulnerable, and you're ill-treating them instead of, helping them out. Yo, this spider better not follow me home, bro. If you lend money to my people, to the poor among you, do not act toward them as a creditor. Exact no interest from them. And you know how, bro, this gets broken every day. Every day. All these loan companies. And then you gotta pay, bro. The interest you end up paying sometimes is like double what you borrowed. Double what you borrowed. That's crazy. Like, you know, somebody taking a loan, they need the money. So I mean, just them paying that money back itself was gonna be a task. You want them to pay back double, sometimes more. Bruh, that's wicked. If you take your neighbor's garment and pledge, you must return it before the sun sets. It is the only available clothing. It is what covers the skin. And what else shall your neighbor sleep? Therefore, if that person cries out to me, I will pay heed, for I am compassionate. You shall not revile Elohim, nor put a curse upon a chieftain of your people. You shall not put off the skimming of the first yield of your vats. You shall give me you shall give me the male firstborn among your children. And that's actually what I plan to do. I'm gonna dedicate my firstborn, actually all my children, to the Most High. I'm gonna make my son a Nazarite from birth. You shall do the same with your cattle and your flocks. 7 days the male firstborn shall remain with its mother. On the 8th day shall give it to me. You shall be holy people to me. You must not eat flesh torn by beasts in the field. You shall cast it to the dogs. My phone battery's getting low, y'all, so maybe this might be the last chapter. You must not carry false rumors. You shall not join hands with the guilty to act as a malicious witness. In my stones Tanakh, it says, do not accept a false report. Do not extend your hand with the wicked to be a venal witness. You shall neither side with the mighty or the majority to do wrong. You shall not give perverse testimony in a dispute so as to pervert it in favor of the mighty. No favoritism, no bias, no partiality, bro. Like, it is what it is. We can't have this favoritism in the nation. It's gonna cause you to be biased in judgment. It's gonna cause you to always side with a particular person or people. And even if they're wrong, you know, you're gonna pervert justice now, because you gotta be balanced. You gotta be fair. Somebody's wrong, they're wrong. Somebody else is right, they're right. Whether you like them or not, whether you love them or not, you gotta love justice and righteousness above all that, and the Most High above everybody, and that's what He requires. So, nor shall you show deference to a poor person in a dispute. When you encounter your enemy's ox or ass wandering, you must take it back. Don't be hoarding people's stuff, man. You see, and this goes for anything. You see somebody drop some money or a wallet, and you go pick it up, and you know whose it is. And even if you didn't see it, you open it up and you see their name, and you could search them up. You can search them on Facebook or IG, or go to police station and be like, yo, this person lost their wallet. And not only give them their wallet back with their ID, but everything that was in that wallet or bag. You don't take nothing. You give it back. That's theirs. You wouldn't want somebody taking your stuff. So treat it as if they are you. That's what you're supposed to do. That's why the nation of Israel is called a son in the singular. We're supposed to look at each other, as our mirror. We see somebody else, we will see ourselves. That's our brother. That's our blood. You know what I'm saying? When you see the ass of your enemy lying under his burden and will refrain from raising it, you must nevertheless help raise it. So, even if you see somebody that you don't like No, their animals is hurting. You gotta help it out. That even goes, you know what I'm saying? The spirit, quote unquote, around that law. You know, even if somebody you don't like, they need help. Help them out, man. You can gain a brother or sister or somebody, or you know, solve issues by being a bigger person and help somebody out. You shall not subvert the rights of your needy in their disputes. Don't be doing the needy wrong, man. Keep far from a false charge. Do not bring death on those who are innocent and in the right, for I will not acquit the wrongdoer. Do not take bribes, for bribes blind the clear-sighted and upset the pleas of those who are in the right. I don't care what kind of money. Bro, you can't give me no kind of money, bro. You could not give me no kind of money, right? To falsely testify against somebody. Whether it was a death penalty for them or not. Now, especially if my lie will cause somebody to die, damn sure. But even regardless of that, you couldn't pay me to pervert justice regardless. That's not gonna be on my lips. That's not gonna be on my record with man or the Most High. The Most High gonna be able to say, "Oh, he folded. He folded for some money. He know he was broken Torah. He took a bribe and he perverted justice. Y'all be out your mind. I'll be the last person on earth to ever take some money and pervert justice and do some wickedness. And y'all can stamp that. Y'all can put that. Y'all can, write it to your mammy and mail it to her. Soul will never fold. I'll be the last on earth, bro. I'm telling y'all right now. You shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the feelings of the stranger. Having yourselves been strangers in the land of Mizraim. That echoes what was up earlier. You didn't like being oppressed. Don't oppress others. 6 years you shall sow your land and gather in its yield. But in the 7th you shall let it rest. The land has its own Shabbat. And lie fallow. Let the needy among your people eat of it. And what they leave, let the wild beasts eat. So they know you're doing good for the environment. You're doing good for others. Not just yourself. When you're doing good, give back. You shall do the same with your vineyards and your olive groves. 6 days you shall do your work, but on the 7th day you shall cease from labor, in order that your ox and your ass may rest, and that your homeborn servant and the stranger may be refreshed. Be on guard concerning all I told you. Make no mention of the names of other powers. They shall not be heard on your lips. 3 times a year you shall hold a festival for me. You shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, eating unleavened bread for 7 days, as I have commanded you, at the set time in the month of Abib. For in it you went forth from Mizraim, and none shall appear before me empty-handed. And the feast of the harvest, the first fruits of your work, of what you sow in the field, and the feast of ingathering at the end of the year, when you gather in the results of your work from the field. 3 times a year all your males shall appear before the sovereign Yahweh. Now, you shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with anything leavened. And the fat of my festal offering shall not be left lying until the Boker. I don't really like saying that word right there. But yeah, that right there, we can't really do that, because that is specifically to be done in the land and appearing before the Most High with our offerings and stuff like that. That's where we can't do that. The choice first fruits of your soil you shall bring to the house of your Elohim Yahweh. You shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk. And no, that does not mean anything about eating cheeseburgers. That has nothing to do with cheeseburgers, bro. You shall not boil a kid in his mother's milk. That's talking about, like, just how cruel it is. How cruel would it be to boil a goat or a lamb in the milk of its mother? That's just, like, that's savage, bro. That's savage, bro. I'm sending the messenger before you to guard you on the way and bring you to the place I made ready. Pay heed to him and obey him. Do not defy him, for he will not pardon your offenses, since my name is in him. But if you obey him and do all that I say, I will be an enemy to your enemies and a foe to your foes. When my messenger goes before you and brings you to the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Canaanites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I annihilate them, you shall not bow down to their Elohims or their, where is it at? Elohim, and worship or follow their practices, but shall tear them down and smash their pillars to bits. You shall serve your Elohim, Eloheka Yahweh, or Yahweh Elohim, who will bless your bread and your water, and I will remove sickness from your midst. That'd be like me over here in Morocco, going to a damn mosque or a damn Kaaba stone and doing what they do. Nope. I was separate when I was in the U.S. and I'm separate now still. No. No woman in your land shall miscarry or be barren. I will let you enjoy the full count of your days. I'm going through all these blessings. I will send forth my terror before you, and I will throw into panic all the people among whom you come. And I will make all your enemies turn tail before you. I will send a plague ahead of you, and it shall drive out before you the Hivites, the Canaanites, and the Hittites. I will not drive them out before you in a single year, lest the land become desolate and the wild beasts multiply to your hurt. See? Most High genius, man. I will drive them out before you little by little until you have increased and possessed the land. I will set your borders from the Sea of Reeds to the Sea of Philistia and from the wilderness to the Euphrates, for I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hands, and you will drive them out before you. You shall make no covenant with them and their Elohims, or their Elohims. They shall not remain in your land, lest they cause you to sin against me. For you will serve their Elohim, and it will prove a snare to you. So don't come up to me talking about no damn Muhammad, no damn Quran, sir. Nope. I serve the Most High, Creator of the heavens and earth, the Aloha of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and His commandments, His Torah. I'm not gonna eat no damn camel, sir, or no damn snails, or no damn shrimp. I'm doing y'all's ways. And just because I'm in y'all land, I'm doing it. Y'all gonna follow me, if anything. I'm gonna be an example to the people around me where I'm at. That's what I do. I go to be the light wherever I go. So, I'm gonna rock my fringes. I'm gonna rock my prayer shawl. I got my torah out in public where I'm at right now. At this park. Reading it in front of the police walking by. Man, y'all could put a gun to my head and tell me to serve your way, and you better press that trigger. And that trigger might it might jam. Actually, that gun's either gonna jam, or the bullet is gonna come out backwards and shoot you, sir. Because that's how the Most High. That's how the Most High got me, bro. So, that's what I'm going to be wherever I go, bro. I don't care where I'm at. Desert, Zimbabwe, damn, China, uh, um, Poland, Egypt, wherever, bro. Like, I ain't folding. I ain't never gonna change up, switch nothing, bro. I'm the same wherever I go. Y'all crazy. Most High with me. I ain't got nothing to fear. So, you know. But yeah, that's it, y'all. I just want to go over some. Just wanted to read through the commandments, mainly the 10 commandments from Exodus 20. Yeah, y'all. I'm enjoy this, son. My battery getting ready to die. I'ma head home, finish up this 18-hour fast, and put something in my gullet. And, you know, get ready for the Shema Yisrael Torah teaching class in about 2 hours. 10:30 EST time for y'all on the East Coast of the U.S. So, yeah, y'all. Shabbat Shalom to those who observe the Shabbat today. For those that don't, Shabbat Shalom whenever your Shabbat is. If you don't observe the Shabbat at all, just have a blessed day, you know. And I hope y'all at least are resting sometimes and not grinding 24/7, you know. You know, sometimes it's a test to see what you're going to do. Are you going to worry about the money and your job, or are you going to, you know, be bold for the Most High? There is still a weaver's weave on. Why there's a spider web on my phone, bro. Where's the spider at? Yo, this spider is right here. I wish I could show y'all. This dude is like stalking me, yo. But yeah, y'all. Apparently, it's also. I blew the shofar last night for the new month, but I'll do it again for y'all. And don't laugh if I Squidward. Damn. Oh, my lips are dry, bro. This is embarrassing, bro. I ain't had this trouble in a long time. Yo, this is crazy. What's going on? This is the worst shofar performance I've ever put on. I do not know what's going on. Why I can't do this right now. That's the best I can do right now, y'all. That's crazy. Yeah, I just made myself look dumb. Hey, I don't care, y'all. Hey, I did it. Y'all can look at my other shofar blowing videos. I'll be killing it. I don't know what's going on right now. I think my lips are just mad dry. I don't know, y'all. I did last night with no problem. But, oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna head back. Or maybe enjoy a little bit more sun while I'm out here. But, yeah, all praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Elohim of Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Peace and increase to the children of Yasharal scattered abroad. Peace and increase to those striving to be the remnant. Peace and increase to those, you know, widows, orphans, those the poor, especially of his people, especially those that seek and serve him and him alone, and to keep his commandments. You know, may he bless you. May he provide for you. May he be with you in all your ways and give you strength that you need, physically, metaphysically, mentally, so that you can, you know, go about your day and, you know, have hope. May he bless you with hope and faith and ample substance and all your needs. You know, really. What I've come to terms with is, you know, even though I aim for riches so that I can do good things, so I can do good things for the nation, what we really got to be content with, y'all, is if we have shelter and water and food every day and we're never starving, we have more than maybe most people in the world. And we got to be content. We got to be grateful for that alone and show that we can, we're going to praise him even if we don't have everything that we think we should have or, that we want. So, sometimes you're more blessed than you think, y'all. So, yeah, all praise to the Most High.